Okay, so we're going to be talking about a relative frequency table and a percent bar graph today, okay? Frequency, again, is just how often something happens, okay? So the frequency of teachers in a room usually is just 1. If you wanted to know the frequency of desks in a room, you would just count the desks. So we're going to be talking about categorizing, which is like categories, okay? And so in order to find a relative frequency, all right, you're going to have a fraction, which you're going to turn into a percent. And in order to write a fraction, you're going to have to list the part over the total. Okay? So in other words, a relative frequency is a ratio, which can be written like this. Okay, so it's a ratio of the frequency of the data, which is just the list of numbers, to the sum. Okay, when you add things together, that's what sum means, is to add them together. That's the total of all the frequencies. So basically, write a part to a total. That's all that means, okay? A mode is going to be a categorical, remember you hear a category in there, so a categorical data set that occurs most often. So if you ask everyone what their favorite color is, and the color that gets answered the most is blue, blue is the mode. Okay, if you walk into a room and there's 20 girls and 1 boy, the mode is girls. So it's the thing that happens the most often, okay? The highest number, basically. So if we were to ask a survey question, remember a survey is a question that you ask that same question with the same answer choices to a lot of different people. So you're going to survey 25 people and you're going to ask what their favorite color is. Okay, and these were their answers. 6 people said blue, 5 people said red, 11 people said green, and 3 people said yellow. All right, and so when you add all those up, that's 25. But if I just told you, all the information I gave you was 3 people like yellow, 3 people, yellow was their favorite color, and that's all I told you. If you didn't know that the total was 25, that wouldn't make any sense to you. You would say, well, 3 out of how many? 3 out of 100? Did you ask 100 people? Did you ask 500 people? So this relative frequency, okay, if you have a relative, you're related to them. So whatever number that you're given, the relative frequency has to be related to the total. Okay, so when we make a relative frequency table, that's the first thing that we have to make in order to make a percent bar graph. We have to make a relative frequency table first. We have to relate that 6 people that liked blue, we have to relate it to the total. So we're going to write a part to a whole. The part is what we're talking about. So the part would be blue out of the total. Okay, and then we would have the part would be the part of people that liked red out of the total. The part of people that liked green out of the total, and the part of the people that answered yellow out of the total. So all of these right here are going to be fractions as far as this related to the total, okay? So we have blue, let's put red, green, and yellow. So how many people, this right here, this blue, it had 6 out of 25. Remember the total is 25. If it doesn't give you the 25, you can add all these up and get 25. So 6 out of 25 people liked blue. So what I need to do is, in order to make a percent bar graph, I need to go ahead and turn it into a percent, okay? So there's 2 ways. If your bottom total, if your denominator, okay, or your bottom total is a friendly number to 100, meaning if this, like 25 times 4 was 100, if it's a friendly number, whatever you do on the bottom times 4, you can do on the top. You can say times 4 as well and get the 24. And so since it's 24 out of 100, that's what percent means, is out of 100. So 24 out of 100 is 24%. So that means that 24% of the total said blue is their favorite color. Okay, so we're taking this number, we're putting it over the total, and then we're turning it into a percent. So let's say that 25 was not a friendly number, okay? Let's say it was something that didn't multiply to get 100 so easy as this one did. So you're going to take your 6 out of 25, you're going to take your part over your total, your fraction, and you're going to put it in a percent box, okay? We've done these before. This is your part and this is your whole. So since it's 6 out of 25, we can just put 6 out of 25 into our percent bar graph. We're going to cross multiply, and then we're going to divide by the other number. So 600 divided by 25 is going to be 24%, and that's what we got here, okay? So if it is not a friendly number, if you can't say 25 times 4 is 100 and then just do times 4 here, you can go ahead and do a percent box and cross multiply and divide in order to find your percent, okay? So here we go, we have red, 5, and our total is still the same, it's still 25. And then green is going to be 11 out of 25, and yellow is going to be 3 out of 25. So since we can find that easy way, 25 times 4 is 100, then 5 times 4 is 20, so 20 out of 100 is 20%. Okay? And then you have this right here. Again, it's times 4. 25 times 4. So if your total was different, what you're multiplying would be different to get to 100. So since we're multiplying by 4 in this one, we're going to multiply by 4 here and get 44. 44 out of 100 is 44%. Same thing here, times 4, it's going to be 12. So 12 out of 100 is 12%. So now a relative frequency tables, all right, turns data into fractions and then into percentages. Then we're going to use that data to make a percent bar graph. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a bar graph that has percents right here. So label that percent with a percent sign. Okay. And then on the bottom is going to be color. We're going to have blue, then red, then green, and all this is coming off of my frequency, my relative frequency table. So since my largest percent is 44, I need to go at least to 44. So I think I'm just going to count by 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Count by tens. So your blue says 24%, so you're going to go about to 24%, make a bar. Okay, red is 20%, so you're going to go to 20%. You can use a ruler if you need it. Green, you're going to go to 44%, which is about there. And then yellow was about 12%. If you want to label them, you can. You do not have to, though. It does also need a title, and since the question that we asked everyone, the survey question was, what is your favorite color? We're just going to label the graph favorite color. All right, you can pause it now if you need more time, but I'm going to flip over to the back. So right here is a different type of percent bar graph, okay? They give it to you like this. They give it to you up and down, and they could give it to you in any different way as long as you know how to read it is okay. So breakfast is the darker one, and then we have lunch here, and then we have supper here. So breakfast is from 0 to 30. So 10, 20, 30. Okay, so breakfast is 30%. And then we have lunch is from 30 to 40, that's 10%, or I could just subtract from here to here and get my 10%. And then supper is this big category up here, so supper is from here to here. So I could count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or I can say 100 minus 40, where it ends and begins, and we get 60. So supper is going to be 60%. So added all those together, 60% plus 10% plus 30%, that is 100%. So if you need to check yourself on your tables that you're making to make sure it equals 100%, that would be good. So I noticed that supper for sure is the largest category here. Okay, so it has to be the largest category here by a lot. And so I'm looking at this, and it is supper's largest. Supper's largest. Supper is just barely bigger than that, so I'm going to get rid of this one. And supper is larger than the other two. I also noticed that lunch is by far the smallest one. So lunch needs to be the smallest number, and it's not here. 4 is not smaller than 3. So I'm going to get rid of that one. These say that they're equal. Well, they're not equal here. This one's 30 and this one's 10. So they're saying that breakfast and lunch are equal. So that's out. And so even if you don't know how to do your calculations, you can look at the size of these and get rid of some answer choices. So if I think H is my answer, I'm going to look and say, okay, I'm going to add these up and get my total. Okay, because remember, relative frequency is all about your number, your part compared to the total. So breakfast, let's write a fraction of people that like breakfast. It's 9 out of 30. If I put that into a percent box and turned it into a percent, I want to see if breakfast is actually the 30%. Okay, so 9 out of 30. So if I cross multiply and divide by 30, divide both these by 10, 90 divided by 3 is actually going to be 30. So 30% is correct. All right, so that really is 30%. And so since 9 to 18, since 9 times 2 is 18, 30 times 2 would be 60. So I know that this 18 over 30 would be 60%. And then I could check this one as well. 3 over 30 really would be 10%. So it matches these up here. So yes, it is H. Okay, then I have this one. It says, John Reed bought a packet of pens. He took the pens out of the packet one at a time. He recorded the color of each pen in this tally chart. So let's go ahead and count. That's 5, 10, 15. So that's 15 black pens. 5, 10, 11, 12. 12 green. 1, 2, 3, 3 red. So again, in order to find percentages, we have to write the fractions, okay, and then turn them into percentages. So we have to add these up. Let's just count them. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So my total is going to be 30. So if I wrote these as fractions, that would be 15 over 30, 12 over 30, and 3 over 30. I could put these into percent boxes if I wanted, okay? So I'll put 1 into a percent box to show you. So let's put 12 over 30 into the percent box. So 12 over 30. So if I cross multiply, divide by 30, that's going to be 40%. So that right there is going to be, green is going to be 40%. So green, not 40% here. It is here, it is here, and it's not here. So let's go ahead and find right here. We'll do another little percent box. We'll do 3 over 30. We're doing red. If I cross multiply and divide, I get 10%. So red is 10%, red is 40%. These are not equal here. They're not equal here. Okay, or I'm sorry, green and red. Green and red are not equal here, so how in the world could they be equal here? So that right there is why that's incorrect. So it's going to be C.